Jeez, they are taking this sweet time with the call. Gurdon, are you sure you sent the paperwork in right?
I sent out the paperwork like 5 times, I think. Like, I thought the thing failed a couple times, so I just made sure and put all of our socials on there.
We should be a shoo-in for the podcast Olympics. I don't know why they haven't reached out yet.
I mean, like, I don't think anybody's ever made as many episodes as we have. I don't think there's a single...
No, 37 episodes? That's wild, dude.
Like, I don't think anybody's ever done anything that long before. So I don't know how we haven't won Marathon Podcast, Funniest Podcast Ever, Best Fortnightly Podcast also. Like, we came up with that idea of every other week. So, like, the Podcast Olympics have to hit us up, right? Like,
that's true. We essentially made a category for them with the Fortnightly Podcast. Yeah. Like, we got to be recognized for that.
We do.
Please, okay.
We do. Oh my gosh! It's ringing!
Who is it?
Hello, and welcome to the most prestigious, most fortnightly podcast on the How Could You Forget channel. It's the Olympic episode. I will be your host for these festivities, Gurdon, and joining me today are Lexi from the United States and Camp Fire Harvest from the great nation of Canada. Say hello, my fellow Olympic podcast hosts.
Hello!
Hi.
I would love if that actually happened at the Olympics, if you have back and forth and then just hello.
They'd put the mic in my face. I would just go hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I also love how you say the most fortnightly podcast as if you're like, we are the most every 2 weeks.
Like clockwork. Clockwork.
We didn't
miss
miss
one time.
God. Yeah, we didn't miss an episode. You missed an episode.
Totally not.
True.
We had never missed an episode ever. It's fine.
Okay, so are we talking about the Olympics or the podcast Olympics today?
If you are listening to this podcast at some point in the future, or even because I'm awful with time, the actual date that this podcast goes up, the 2026 Winter Olympics have just ended the day before this episode came out. So, because I did great research.
We're closing it out.
We're the closing ceremonies.
You can consider this your 2026 Olympics recap, where we don't talk about the 2026 Olympics at all.
Because we don't know anything about who actually won the most things, because this is a week early.
I know a tiny bit.
All right, Lexi, tell me right now, who won the most medals? You gotta make a prediction. Who won the most medals
USA.
Out of any country? Okay, they probably did. All right, that's kind of an easy one.
There you go.
I know that Lexi knows a little bit, but Camp, what do you know about the Olympics? Do you know much about the Olympics?
I know nothing, to be honest. Like, I've seen it on like my family's TVs at some points or whatever. I do know that apparently this year there was some beef between like Sweden and Canada, where like Sweden thought that Canadians cheated at curling, and then it turned into like it got into like a full fight. Like, they started cussing each other out on like live TV and shit. Like, it was just brutal.
That's so funny.
And I only know this because I have a friend in Sweden, and no context, he just sends me a message saying, I have beef with Canada now. And I'm like, what did I do? Like, what do you mean?
It's all you.
And he also mentions later, he's like, oh, I hate the stereotype that Canadians are nice. And it's like, me too. We can be dicks, dude. Like, I don't.
Canadians need to be angrier. We need to be mean.
Oh, 100%. I also had a family reunion kind of deal yesterday, and one of my relatives was really into the Olympics, and he thinks that the Sweden people are just framing Canadians. So I don't know. I don't know anything about anything. I hope they're both wrong somehow.
I mean, there'll probably be an investigation if it's a serious enough accusation on either side.
Apparently the officials were looking at it and sided with the Canadians, but I don't know if they push it or what the criteria is or whatever.
That's how you do curling. You push it.
Yeah, you do.
Real good, man.
Push it to the limit. Sorry.
Well, I was going to even ask you, Camp, because I know that we don't have beef between our nations for the Olympics. We have it for other reasons currently. But
all the political reasons, none of the actual sport reasons.
But I do know that the U.S. women's team just beat the Canadian women's team in curling, which is apparently monumental and hasn't happened, or is was super unexpected. But I didn't know if you had heard or known about that.
Canadians can practice curling in their backyards. There's plenty of ice. They can just set up a curling whatever.
Yeah, we got more resources for that.
Yeah.
It's just, as soon as you're born, they're just like, all right, cool. Here's your however many pound
stone. Here's a giant
stone.
lake.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, It's not far off. I mean, a lot of the small towns around here have like straight up curling clubs. Like so
That's
many of them do.
interesting.
Yeah, there's even one in the
Wow.
town that I grew up in. Like there is a lot.
Did you ever do
Wow.
curling, or do you know anybody that did curling?
A little bit. I didn't do anything like super serious. I didn't sign up for any teams, but I know my grandparents were very into curling, so I would
Were
sometimes
you the
go there as a
pusher, or
kid
were
and,
you the
like,
sweeper?
I was pushing. I was mainly pushing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Choo choo.
I wasn't
Pushing that
the
train.
greatest pusher. I did sweep sometimes. I still don't entirely know what sweeping is. It just kind of feels like they're just mopping up a hallway. Like I don't
Is that
know.
what it's
like,
called?
I
Is
don't
it
know
a
what
pusher and a sweeper? I'm assuming it's probably a curler and like something else. But.
There's probably like actual terms, but I don't know.
Pusher, sweeper.
I forgot.
Mhm.
And that's the best part
Yes.
about this podcast is we know every
It's
single
the-
thing. So,
The yeeter and the yoder.
oh, okay.
You made those up. Those are not. There's no way.
Oh, yeah, I did make them up. They're not real. I just imagine somebody going yeet and like pushing the stone.
That would be amazing.
Now I need to know.
All right, Camp,
Curling
do your...
position names.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Lexi's already doing it. Never mind.
So true.
Oh, okay. It's
See who gets it first.
really boring. It's apparently it says
Oh.
the 4 primary members of the team are the lead, the second, the vice, and the skip.
Oh.
Wait, there's 4 people in a curling... I'm so sorry. I know
Yeah.
we're going
Yeah,
off
that
topic,
sounds
but I
fun.
love this.
Oh wait. Okay. All right. This is the AI overview, so take it with a grain of salt. But one of
So,
the
well, sweep that
one
salt.
of the key roles is deemed the sweeper.
Yo, I was right.
Oh,
Let's
I
go,
wonder if that's where
dude.
Minesweeper came from.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I don't.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
actually how they diffuse mines in war-torn countries. Is they actually just take a giant curling iron and just throw it across
Yeah.
the ground.
the
yeah,
curling
like in
iron.
England when
They just throw it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a curling
Where
rock. They just
find
have like a hair
undetonated
strainer or
bombs.
whatever and just
Yeah.
throw it.
It makes more shrapnel. That's how you know it's safe.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is the I think we have the record for like the most off the rails podcast in the first
I
like
love it.
3
That's why
minutes this time.
I mean,
That's
we're
why-
still talking about the Olympics.
Well, that's
though.
why
We're
the
talking about
podcast-
curling.
That's why the podcast Olympics need to hit us up. You got our number.
So true.
So true.
I still prefer the yeeter and the yoder, but that's just me.
Well, there's 4.
Yeah.
You'd have to come up with 2 more because the yeter and the yoder, you need 2 more roles apparently. Because I know there was 4
Okay, like
people.
the vice yoder. Okay.
Okay, that's
Like-
3.
Yeah, vice yoder and the stoop. I don't know.
The stoop.
Because they just sit and wait.
What?
So
sit
true.
on
Oh,
the stoop.
okay. Okay.
They
But
straight stooping it in the curling club.
there you go.
Hell yeah.
Straight yeeting it in the yoding it in the curling club. It's great. But-
Yeet on my curling stone till I yote. Anyway.
There we go.
Oh my god, what is happening
But-
today? Okay.
I did want to ask Camp because I had a feeling you didn't know much about the Olympics, but I also wanted to ask Lexi because I know you actually have been keeping up with the Olympics like a fair bit,
A
not
little bit.
not a lot, but enough to be like, whoa, what's happening in the Olympics, Lexi? So I don't know if you want to share any
there
things
are
that
a
you've caught
couple
up
of
with.
events. There are a couple of events I like. I watch a couple of them in the summer and then a couple of them in the winter. It's interesting right now. I don't know what came of it, but apparently in the couples, maybe it's the ice dance. I forget which event it's called. There was a U.S. team and a French team. I think the French team got gold, but people are thinking that it's kind of suspicious because there was a French judge for that event. And apparently the French
Oh.
judge gave the French couple like the highest marks you can on like every element, which doesn't make sense because
Rigged.
nobody else got that.
Rigged.
Yeah, no, actually. So they are investigating it last I heard. I don't know what the outcome of that was, but that could potentially mean that the US team let me look it up. Sorry, give me one second.
It's okay, I believe in you.
We were gonna cut that out, but now you gotta include the part that I believe in you. That's just enough shade. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She's reading. I know she's reading.
I mean,
There
there's
you go.
literally an article that's like controversial French team winning gold is awful for figure skating.
Ooh,
So like,
okay.
yeah, people are really upset
There
about it.
is drama then,
um,
okay.
I know. I actually know like a very, very small amount about how like figure skating is graded because I went to there was a lecture I went to. It was entirely unrelated. It was talking about like subjectivity and art and shit. But they opened with like a lecture about their experience going to see figure skating and how they were objectively like better and more interesting teams that were doing stuff in figure skating. But because of the way that figure skating is ranked, there's only a couple moves that really matter and get you like a shitload of points. So it ends up like
Yeah.
stifling some people like that. Which obviously that might not apply, like, because the whole grading criteria is pretty strict. So if they were objectively not meeting it and they still got first place, then that's still messed up. But I don't know enough about anything, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess only time will tell, because there's plenty of things. And then, of course, the Olympics has a long history of, like, when they find out that people have been doping. And so then they retroactively go back and say, hey, you know, you're part of this doping scandal. You've been stripped of your medals. Therefore, whoever was behind you is now gold medal or silver medal or whatever it is.
Well, Lexi, I wanted to jump in because I wanted to bring this. This is not actually, we're not just going to sit here and just ramble about the Olympics, but the overall topic is about the Olympics, if you didn't catch that. But I know that, Lexi, you were keeping up with the male figure skater of, what was it, the 900 god, or what was his?
No, the 900 god.
He has a number.
No, the quad god.
God. That is a number.
Yeah, it was very sad. He had a really bad run in his finals, so he placed 8th, which he was devastated about, and rightfully so. I really feel for him, but he handled it with a lot of grace and actually congratulated the gold medalist, and was just like, hey, he talked very openly about how during his run, when he kept missing the elements or falling, that it was just like everything came flooding back, like all of his traumatic memories and like just in such a negative headspace that he was like, it was almost impossible for me to get back out of the negative headspace once I was there.
Oh, damn.
So I think that's really interesting, and I'm glad that he is speaking about that, because I think people are just way too harsh on these athletes, and it's one thing to sit on your couch and be like, oh, come on, or like, oh man, he barely missed that or whatever. But I think the pressure that a lot of these athletes face is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm just proud of Ilya for speaking out and saying, hey, you know what? I'm devastated, but I'm going to still be kind to the other competitors because, they gave a good performance and all that. So
yeah, good for him.
That was really sad to hear, though.
Absolutely. And I was trying to relate to what Camps mentioned about like points that are like, wow, this thing could be really, really cool or beautiful or whatever, but they're not graded as highly. Lexi actually taught me this, that this quad god guy had a flip in his routine.
He does a backflip, yeah, which was illegal in the Olympics until 2024.
Yeah.
But it has now been allowed. However, you do not receive any points for it.
Yeah, like you just straight don't, but he just adds it in for flair of just straight up.
You just do it for style points, I guess.
Exactly.
You just do it for
just to flex on him.
Yeah. But
and everybody keeps saying that there was apparently, I think it was in the 70s or 80s, there was a French athlete that she did the backflip in her ice skating routine. And everybody's like, they need to give her credit and give her credit. Well, at the time it was illegal. It was an illegal move to do.
Yeah,
so,
like at the time, if it's illegal and if it's also
no
not...
hate to her because she absolutely stuck that. She landed on one foot. That was amazing. But I'm like, y'all, the reason why she did not receive any credit or, people don't really talk about that is because it was an illegal move at that time.
Yeah.
Hey,
like if you had your own show or doing that on your own time, then hell yeah. Get all the flowers.
Right.
But
look,
I'm also shout out to her. That's amazing. But yeah, she didn't get any points for it. In fact, I think it penalized her. So
yeah. That's like saying, like, look, I'm so strong, I punched that guy's head off. That's illegal, but still, I punched his head off.
Yeah,
though.
Like it's cool you're that strong, I guess, but you also just killed a dude. Like I don't know, like it's kind of a conflicting bit of emotion here. I don't know what you want.
Exactly. But I'm glad that we had like a little bit of talks about that stuff. And Eric, I'm gonna throw you on the spot immediately. I was waiting to do this. What has Canada's performance been in the Olympics this year? I know that you know right off the top of your head.
I was over at my family's place last night, so I was watching some of it on the TV, and I think we're doing good. They actually hold on. I am reaching into the recesses of my mind right now. This Wikipedia page is so useless. Holy shit! Hold on, let me find. Okay. CBC. No new medals today. No new medals today. We're recording on February 5th, 30th, 15th. The 5th, 30th.
Oh my goodness.
That wasn't even a bit. I just forgot.
No. I love putting Camp on the spot. It's one of my new favorite bits of just putting him so
we defeated Switzerland in 5-1 in men's hockey.
Woo,
wow.
Let's go.
Okay.
Canada takes a hard-fought win over Sweden in men's curling. We talked about that earlier.
Let's go.
Wait, a U.S. skeleton athlete has accused Team Canada of manipulating the path for athletes to qualify in Olympic. What's a skeleton athlete? I have what?
The skeleton is when you are on this like narrow bobsled by yourself.
It's just like two rails and like a piece of part.
It's incredibly dangerous.
You go like what 60 miles an hour or something.
It's
like
crazy.
You go so fast.
I think I have seen that sport before. It is I would not want to touch that.
It's very funny because I know this is basically a meme at this point, but like the Winter Olympics are like, yeah, let's just put ourselves in perilous danger. And then the Summer Olympics, like, of course, you have gymnastics and stuff that can be very dangerous and you can get injured. But like Lex and I just watched a couple clips of just like even skiing. And if you mess up on skiing, like you can just ruin your life. You can just die.
Yeah. It's like our coworker, he was like, have people died in the Olympics? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, no way. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, I don't think recently I haven't heard a report of like in this Winter Games, but absolutely people have died at the Olympics.
Dang. Canada has won 9 total medals with 1 gold medal. And that medal is in freestyle skiing. It's not in hockey Canada. Or curling or anything. It's like freestyle skiing.
Wild.
Well, those
they
might
may be still qualifying.
That's what I was
maybe. Yeah, because I know we still got like a week or so before the Olympics are over. Not when you're listening, but when we're recording.
No, you already know, future people.
You already know.
You already know.
Okay, Gordon. So what are you going to tell us about the Olympics?
So actually, thank you so much for saying that, Lexi. I have actually had a very small Olympic video or podcast idea in the back of my head for about 2 years now. And what better time to do so than right after the Olympics are over and people are probably already sick of seeing the Olympics in every single ad.
But, don't worry, it's going to come around in 2 more years. If you're in the U.S., they're going to be in L.A., so you will see them everywhere.
Exactly. But after finding out this little bit of information, I wanted to make a video called something along the lines of like, it's time to duel and talk about dueling throughout the ages. And I still might make that video, but as Lexi and Camp already know, I'm still going through medical issues. And so even sitting at my computer desk is slightly painful. So sorry about that.
You're just not Sigma enough.
I know. I'm just not Sigma enough.
Get your Sigma up.
Yeah. Yes. Go be an Olympic athlete already.
So true.
But the reason why I wanted to make that video was because I had found out that, researching dueling, because I thought it would be very funny to go from like old style, like medieval duels and this, and this to, again, of course, then we had pistol dueling to just straight up Yu-Gi-Oh! I thought that would be very funny to just end with like basically Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling at the end. But while I was doing research for that, I found out that pistol dueling was at the Olympics. Where 2 people just stand across from each other.
People definitely died at the Olympics.
They just have like cowboy standoffs at the Olympics. How many people? I'm assuming you'll get there. I'm in it for the ride.
Yes, I will. It wasn't normally like revolvers, as in like cowboys, but it was dueling pistols, which were like powder pistols, and you would just stand like 20 or 30 meters apart from each other, and then go bam, try to shoot each other. In the early 20th century,
how do they even score that? Like, do you win if you kill the guy?
I'll get you there, Lexi.
Okay.
But dueling, as in like fencing, of course, has been huge for a very, very long time. And like legitimately getting hit like once or twice with a fencing blade without the protective gear is very, very dangerous. That's why they wear those full suits.
Yeah.
But
okay, quick question about fencing. Is it because it's such a heavy, the lance? I think that's what it's called, right? Is it a lance?
No, it is not heavy at all. It's very, very light blade, actually.
Well, but that's what I wanted to know is that they're not sharp, right? So if you get hit without the gear, it's almost like it just causes bruising, right? Doesn't actually tear you open.
Well, the protective gear that they wear is very slash proof, and that's kind of the point of fencing. Is it's much more like slashing and like not swashbuckling, but I can't think of a better word of like. At least from what I know, it's much more again that, and then when you try to go in for a jab. Yes, I don't think that the tip is like a needle and it's going to just poke straight through, but like it's much more a thing of like, I have gotten you type of a situation. But that's why.
But I meant as far as injuries, like you're going to have more bruises than you are cuts.
Well, yeah, the gear should like if you get cut while you're fencing, something has gone very wrong, is what I will say.
Okay.
Like, but if you were doing an actual duel with swords, as I found out from doing research a while ago, it was very, very brutal. Like,
Yeah.
you could either just mess somebody up with like 1 or 2 swings, or again, you could both get cut probably 7 to 10 times and both still be sitting there just like bleeding, essentially. So
That's awful.
yes, it is. And that's why, again, they wear all that protective gear now. Fencing and stuff like that, of course, was very popular. But once the advent of firearms had come along and they were like, whoa, we can just shoot each other with guns kind of came around, they were like, let's try to do this. And so it became much more this thing, of course, as we know from things like Alexander Hamilton died in a duel and stuff like that. But the popularity of that...
Spoilers for Hamilton.
I'm so sorry. Spoilers to history now. But it kind of stayed popular until the very early 20th century. And that's when people kind of realized, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Even if there's like protective gear, like just having guns in sometimes a crowded area and just shooting each other is probably not the best thing. But
yeah.
in 1906, a group of people got together at what were called the Intercalated Games in Athens, Greece, which the Intercalated Games were originally going to be the 1906 Olympic Games, because somebody had the idea of we should have an Olympic Games at Athens every like specific amount of time. Like I think they wanted to do it like every 6 or 8 years. Let's have it specifically at Athens for the history of the Olympics.
The tradition of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But the Olympic Committee, even though they did the whole Intercalated Games, the Olympic Committee was like, no. All those medals that were given out and even all of this other stuff doesn't count. So literally at these games, they just didn't exist, according to the Olympic Committee. But at these games, there was a demonstration of pistol dueling, but they didn't shoot each other at the 1906 ones. They shot at dummies from 20 meters and then 30 meters away with, again, dueling pistols. So that was actually kind of like, oh, okay, so you're not going to murder a dude. You're just going to try to be quick on it and see, oh, hey, I hit this guy's center mass. He hit him in the head or XYZ thing.
It's like it's like testing your aim, more like, honestly.
Yeah, but the thing about dueling pistols is usually you have to, of course, walk away and then quickly turn around and shoot. So I would assume that would also come into effect of like how quick you shot compared to how well you aimed and stuff like that as well. Because there is still shooting in the Olympics, as we know.
Shot first in Star Wars?
Lexi watched her second Star Wars movie. France won gold and bronze at the 20 meter at this event, and Italy got silver. And in the 30 meter, Greece won gold, but Sweden won both silver and bronze in the 30 meter dueling in 1906. So just quick little thing. This is
the Olympics that ended up not counting?
Yeah, this is the basically the lost Olympics is what the sources that I saw had called it.
Okay.
Ominous.
I know.
It is very ominous.
What happened to it? But after the 1906 games, people were kind of like, yo, we could actually do this, but let's up the ante and make it like more exciting. So in 1906, some duelists got together and they put on...
Was this after the Olympic event?
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke as well. This is in 1908, so 2 years later.
Oh, okay.
They came together and went like, yo, let's make a new event of dueling. So what they did was they had 2 people and they would put on heavy protective suits. And from what sources see and what I could find, they would wear almost like welding masks and welding goggles.
Oh my goodness.
And then they would
shoot at each other.
They would shoot at each other, but they used dueling pistols that had wax bullets. So, but the thing about wax bullets is they still really hurt.
Still solid. Yeah, it's still solid.
Yeah, and it's still a projectile coming at you.
Yeah.
Like it's still
firing out of a chamber of something.
And so even you guys are right on the money with it of these wax bullets had to be strong enough to actually be shot out of a gun.
Yeah, I was going to say, because wouldn't they melt because of the heat?
Yes, that was an issue.
Oh, wait.
Oh, my goodness.
If the barrels got too hot, the bullets would melt inside the barrel, and so they wouldn't shoot. And so they would apparently have these pistols sitting out. They would put them in champagne coolers full of ice like 5 minutes before the event and then be like, here's your wax bullets, everything. Go, go, go.
Just like they're frozen. Do it while it's frozen.
Have them shoot at each other.
Oh my goodness.
Shoot at each other with like wax that's actively heating up. Oh my god.
Yes. But they gave these people these like custom hand guards on the pistol to like block the bullets. And
But did they have ivory grips?
I don't know about
We
the
talked
ivory
about
grips.
last episode.
I do not know. There's actually not callback. There's actually not much information about this because they tried. This was kind of like a proof of theory type of a thing. I can't think of the exact terminology.
A concept?
Proof of concept. There we go. Yeah,
There
proof
you
of
go.
concept. And so then they were like, okay, well, after we do this event, then we're going to kind of like get this new sport going and get people to kind of like, oh, wow, this new pistol dueling sport. And then it'll become like a bigger thing. And so at the actual 1908, like, it wasn't even the full Olympic Games. It was at like the pre-Olympic Games.
So like trials and qualifiers and stuff.
Yeah, it was at the Franco-British Exhibition, which did take place at the Olympic fencing arena. So that's where it took place.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So like, even though it was set up and they were getting ready to do this, it was actually kind of like, But like I said, they had to wear these hand guards on the pistols. They had this armor and all this stuff. But one of the people, thanks to High Caliber History, one of the sources that I got for this point, for this portion, they pointed out that one of the participants almost lost their thumb in the shooting because it's, as we talked about, it's still a bullet.
Yeah.
And so that guy apparently was like really upset for the rest of his life because he's like, I went to do this and like I thought we would be safe and I almost lost my thumb. Like that would have ruined me for the rest of my
I thought
life.
we would be safe, but we're still firing projectiles at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I think at this Franco-British exhibition, the US, the UK, and France were the only three people that competed, the only three countries that competed. And again, France actually won the competition. So very surprising about that. France, I guess, has some real shooters.
I'm sure they do.
But because that wasn't at the actual Olympics, again, no medals were awarded. And that was supposed to be kind of the start. But after the events and people seeing people getting injured after getting shot, they were like,
wow, you don't
maybe we shouldn't do pistol dueling. But away from fire, it's a very bold statement. But away from firearms real quick and more so to just odd/lost pieces of Olympic history, such as the more recent history, as in the Milano Winter Olympics that are happening as we record and have just ended for you. The Olympic Committee gave out condoms to the Olympic athletes, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Honestly, that's smart.
It is. And it's not
They tried for years for anti-sex beds, and I'm like, why don't you just offer protection to them?
She mentioned it. Yeah.
Why were they
crazy.
Why were they so concerned about the sex life of the athletes?
Okay, so here's the thing, Camp.
Thank you.
What little I know, apparently because during the Olympics, they typically create this area called like whatever the Olympic Village is,
yeah, that's
right?
What it's called.
And so it's not actually a village from my understanding, but it's basically the base camp for all of the athletes from different countries. You know, they put them into different like hotels and areas and things like that. And in years past, like for probably since the beginning of the Olympics, I would think, you have so many people in the same area with nothing to do other than when their event is happening or practicing for their event.
And they're full of energy and they're like at the peak performance of...
Most people are pretty young. And so they've had problems with people just like going wild with their sexual relations.
Going wild.
So instead of being like, well, yeah, let's offer protection or like educational services. No, I think it was, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. Probably longer than that. But they instituted like anti-sex beds is what they were calling them, where they were like super uncomfortable and like loud, I guess. So that way it would be like annoying for everybody else, or what do you know about this group?
So Lexi, I'm so glad that you brought this up of your own volition. Yes, I kind of started it off by mentioning the condoms. So they have to disprove this every year. What happened was in 2020, they put a ban on sex because COVID, and they didn't want a bunch of athletes possibly sharing spaces, or again, it was technically 2021, but still, they didn't want people sharing a bunch of spaces and intercrossing and having a bunch of cross-contamination. And so, yes, they did try to put a ban on that just for the safety of the athletes and saying, hey, please don't. Like, please don't, for your safety and the safety of all other athletes. Like, they did try to put a ban on sexual intercourse for that.
But I thought the anti-sex beds were real. Are they not real?
The anti-sex beds, and again, it's so grateful. I actually have a photo of these anti-sex beds for you all, and for those listening at home. That is what one of the anti-sex beds from the 2024 Paris Olympics looks like. But the thing about them is they're not anti-sex beds. Everybody just likes calling them that because it's funny.
I was going to say, I mean, I could still have sex on that.
And then here's an example. If you would like to include this in the video portion, here is a TikTok of two very strong men, from what I can see, showing that these beds do not stop you from having sex. That they are plenty sturdy.
They try to like jump on them.
One dude is just straight up jumping up and down on this bed, and then another guy even tries to jump on it from the side as well. And like, these are not like very large men. But, like, these are large men.
That poor guy just launched himself at it, and he just, like, bounced off.
Exactly. And so they might be perceived as anti-sex beds, and that's what they literally might be called for the rest of time at this point, because it's very funny to think, haha, anti-sex beds. But, like, these are mostly put in place to house the 3,000, on average, Olympic athletes that have to come into an area very, very quickly.
Oh, I bet.
Without needing long-term, like, well, let's put them all up in hotels and to be able to keep an eye on them and make sure that the illegal things aren't happening. So that's at least the Olympic Committee's reasoning. And again, the countries that host the Olympics is like, hey, this is actually a very good system. And while, yeah, they do look like they're made of cardboard, and they are, apparently the mattresses on them are very, very comfortable. So some people might complain and might have some negative things to say about it. But no, this does not.
Dang, I feel duped. I feel duped and Speckledorf.
You have been Speckledorf. But back to the condoms very, very quickly, because that will help wrap all this up. But
that is true. There is a lot of sexual activity. That still remains.
And that's what I was also going to say is everybody always asks, like, well, why do these Olympic athletes just have so much sex? And sorry if you've gotten to this point and you shouldn't be or don't want to listen to this stuff, I'm very apologetic. But why is there so much sex at the Olympics? Well, the answer is, again, these are men and women and non-binary people at the peak performance of their life, like human pinnacle of strongest at running, lifting, whatever it is. And so they have a lot
of them are in their 20s.
Yes. Yeah. And so they have a lot of energy built up. They have either just gotten off performing on the world's largest stage, like legitimately the world's largest stage of being the very best at what they do. And so they either feel this very high endorphin rush of, I just did an amazing job. Or it could even just be the fact of like, I just went and lifted 800 pounds, or I just did X, Y, I just ran a mile in 2 milliseconds. Like, you were at the peak of this.
They gotta de-stress.
And so they gotta de-stress. They are, again, like Lexi said as well, they're cooped up in this small area with all of this energy and all of this, like, I'm the best at lifting, I'm the best at punching, whatever it is. And so then you go,
and they probably can't go like, oh, I'm in Paris, I'm gonna go to the Louvre now. Like, I don't think they can do that. They probably don't have a ton of time off, between their events.
Yeah. Well, again, they have to keep these intense training regimens, and then also behind the scenes of boxers that are not in the Olympics, but again, boxing is now in the Olympics. There's a very big superstition amongst male boxers that not having sex helps you in the ring, but actually scientists have proven it the opposite direction, that male boxers having intercourse before a match actually helps you release all the correct chemicals basically to help you box, and same for women as well. So
interesting.
There's not a negative to being highly, highly athletic, and then if you are down with it, having intercourse with people.
I can imagine that with all of the years and time you put into the Olympics, if you win a gold medal, no wonder you want to go have sex.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I don't really blame them. Like, you're just like, woo,
Exactly. And so with the Milano Winter Olympics, the Olympic Committee gave out 10,000 condoms.
I think that's the cookie. Isn't it just Milan?
Oh, is it Milan? It might be. I think it's Milan. I'm dumb, but still. The cookie Winter Olympics. But the Milan Winter Olympics in 2026, they gave out 10,000 condoms. They ran out in 3 days.
Oh.
What?
Oh. What? Oh my goodness.
That's what I was waiting to hit on.
How?
Yes, it worked.
That's not nearly enough.
Evidently not.
For comparison, The
Well, because how many countries and how many people are
as
there?
I said, in the Milan
honestly.
Winter Olympics, there are about 2,900 athletes.
Oh, that's it?
Yes.
Oh.
And about
I missed that. Sorry, I was looking for the cookie picture.
and about half of them are male. Roughly about 51 to 52% are male, I believe. So if you just do quick math, about 1,500 people have penises. And after about 3 days, if you do the quick math, that's about 3 condoms per day used per Olympic athlete.
Wow.
In comparison, by the way, the 2024 Paris Olympics had 300,000 condoms. So I don't know why Milan was like, nah, we don't need this many condoms.
Because the Vatican City said, you will not.
I guess, dude. I guess.
The Pope said, no.
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 But yeah, like that math of, on average, every single male athlete having sex 2 to 3 times per day, and they have already run out, so...
I mean, I will say also, there's a fair number, I've read about a fair number of, like, couples.
Yeah.
That go to the Olympics. So I'm also like, you wouldn't adjust for, like, people who are also partnered, because that would be a lot of way easier access to sex than somebody who's single, and maybe you got to go walk around the campus, I don't know what you call it, and be like, hey, I'm single, who wants to mingle, you know what I mean?
Again, I'm not exactly sure. I just know that because I don't even know technically.
They underestimated. That's what they did.
I don't know if Olympic athletes, because again, I'm not one. I'm not involved in it at all. I don't know if you're allowed to
No, you don't say.
With my broken body, I know. But I don't know
with
if
your rare illness.
I don't know if they're even allowed to go to a bar and hook up with somebody, or if this is literally only Olympic athletes having.
I would think that they would have to stay within the Olympic Village.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
What is going on with that? But that was one of those that I was like, especially the news broke about this 2 days before we are recording. I had to share that. And again, who knows, maybe within a couple days, they'll be like, actually, we found another stockpile of 50,000 more or something. But
can you believe if your parents were Olympic athletes and they're like, yeah, you were conceived at the 2012 Olympics or whatever? That's wild.
That's so crazy. But I do have to say, I promise every episode that I host will not have a random horny time, but this was just too good not to mention after last episode as well.
It just keeps lining up perfectly.
Well, I don't think it was that explicit. It's just hey,
I know, but it's still
adults,
funny though.
It is funny.
But
again, I'm betting the Pope said no. That's why they had a shortage.
But nowadays, if you don't know, the Olympics are slightly less than about a month long. But the thing about the Winter Olympics this year, which I also learned, is this is the very first Winter Olympics that is technically co-hosted by 2 cities. And so they are both counted in the thing, but everybody's just been calling them the Milan Olympics, even though there is a second portion of them. I don't know how to say it because it's in Italian, but this is one of the very first times that
I think the U.S. has done that quite a bit. Maybe not co-host, but
But that's the difference. Is even the 2028 ones will just be the LA Olympics, even though, again, I believe a couple of events will happen in our state that we live in, Lexi, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But nowadays, the Winter and Summer Olympics happen every 2 years. So this year, it's the Winter Olympics. In 2 years, it'll be summer, for those of you that don't know. Pretty easy to follow. But the original Olympics back in the Greek times were only the summer variety. So they would only have a summer Olympics.
Oh, what do you mean? They didn't have giant hills to do snowboarding on?
Yo, they didn't have snowboarding in the BC.
They didn't have hockey back then? Wow.
Whoa. Okay, let's not go that far. But these Summer Olympics would go over the course of 6 months. Is how long that the old Greek Olympics were.
Summer isn't even that long.
Look, I don't know. I don't know if they just took them that long to get everybody there. I'm not sure. But the original Greek Olympics, they held events that would include horse racing, chariot races. There were multiple running events, somewhere that were long distance, somewhere that were shorter. Boxing was one, but without, of course, boxing gloves. They would just wrap their hands in leather and beat the shit out of each other.
Oh,
wow. There was a form of mixed martial arts called Pankration, Pankration. So pancration, I don't know, discus throw, which they still have in the Summer Olympics now, as well as the
Yes.
javelin throw and long jump were all old Greek
Cool.
Olympic events. And of course, because it was the ancient Greeks, every Olympian competed in the nude for all events. So
Oh,
every single event,
okay.
it was just dudes hanging dong, and women would not be allowed to watch the events at all. So
Of course.
it was just dudes
Of
watching
course.
dudes be like, yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my goodness.
Least homoerotic thing the Greek has ever done.
Exactly.
I mean, I can understand not competing in any clothes for certain events because, like,
Yeah, they can be like a bit of a hindrance
why would
depending
you
on
want that?
I'm worried about the horse racing.
Oh, good God.
horse racing. No,
I don't want to know what happens to their testicles while they're doing that. That's awful. Sorry, I'll leave you with that image, everybody.
probably take a bit of a beating.
Yeah, maybe.
Cups were invented for a reason.
Yeah, the original cup was just a cup that a dude wore. I'm just kidding. But the original Olympics started in the 8th century BC. And I didn't know this, but they ran all the way until the 4th century AD was how long that the Olympics were ran. And of course,
Like on this specific schedule.
I don't know if it was the specific schedule of every 4 years, but there's a history of the Olympics running from 8th century to the 4th century of it happening, and even Rome picked it up until eventually.
So 8th century BCE
Yes.
to 4th century CE?
AD, yeah. And the only reason they stopped was because the Romans, after they had been converted to Christianity, considered the events pagan.
Of course they did.
Because
Damn
it was following
Christianity.
the old Christian, or not Christian gods, the old Greek gods, and so they were like, no, we're stopping this. And then
Well, then why don't we have the Jesus games, okay?
Lexi,
Why didn't they create the Jesus
Lexi,
games?
they're gonna make the Jesus games. Don't give
I know,
me
I know.
ideas.
It's the next iteration of the Beast games, but it's all Christian nationalists.
the Beast games.
Anyway, not gonna get into that here.
Yep. The Olympics would not come back until 1896 when Athens then did the modern day Olympics instead.
Oh my
So-
gosh, really?
Yeah, that's how
Wow,
long.
so it ran way back in the day and then not till the late 1800s?
Literally the last chance for it to be before the 1800s. Yes, before the 1900s.
Wow.
That's why I was like, that's crazy, dude.
That is very crazy.
I do assume that, of course, that there were times where, oh, hey, if the Greeks were having a horrible famine or in the middle of war, they might not host the Olympics. But I
Yeah.
mean, who knows? It might have literally ran like clockwork for every 4 years. But
That's cool.
But speaking of this, do either of you know anything about the Olympic flame? Because this was the coolest thing for me after I did the research, by the way.
Oh, I think the only thing I know about it is that it's not supposed to ever go out.
Yeah.
Like that they've
Yeah,
had
and I know
it
it
for
transfers.
so long.
And I know
Yeah.
they transfer it between torches and stuff like that, and it's a whole kind of ceremony that they line up.
It is crazy. It is the most extra and possibly one of the most incredible uses of human ingenuity and imagination that I think I have seen over the course of a long time. You could probably do an entire documentary, or there probably are multiple documentaries just on the Olympic flame itself because it's so cool. And if you want, listeners at home, you can actually watch a video of the torch lighting ceremony all over the internet and follow that stuff. That clogged up a lot of my sources, but it's just super cool to watch. But the Olympic flame, as we know, always starts at the ruins of the Temple of Hera in Greece or wherever.
Yeah, okay.
So it
Oh.
always starts there, and it usually has 11 women who are in costume, usually playing the roles of the priestesses of Vesta, which were the Vestral virgins is what they were called.
I was going to say, were they oracles or they were just teachers?
I don't know that deep. I just know that these women nowadays are not actually them. They are just people that have been.
Right. It's just a ceremony. You know, they just.
But
do
back
that.
then they were just straight up the priestesses. So I assume that they would be a priest nowadays with any form of religion like that, of knowledgeable and be able to help people down the right path. But
Okay.
But they nowadays These women perform both a dress rehearsal and then, of course, the actual lighting of the Olympic flame, which they use straight up the power of the sun itself to light the flame.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yes. And I was like, what do you mean they use the power of the sun itself? And so they specifically do this whole dance, this whole thing, and then they take this parabolic mirror, which is like a mirror that's like about a third of a sphere pointed inward, and then they hold up the Olympic torch to it, and it lights the Olympic torch with the power of the sun. It's so cool.
Wow.
And if on the day of the event it's too cloudy or it's rainy or whatever, for the full event, then they will keep the original dress rehearsal flame safe to still light it if they need to.
Oh, well, that's smart, actually.
It's so smart. The high priestess will go over there and ignite the torch, and then pass the torch as well as an olive branch to a Greek athlete, usually, who then completes the first leg of the relay. And Wikipedia mentions that a poem is read as well as a flock of doves is released. But the Olympic website itself has no mention of the poem or flock of doves, and I didn't see that in the video myself. So I don't know if somebody just lied on Wikipedia or what, but just for that
You
one
really
little
think
part.
someone would do that?
A lie
Go
on the internet?
And lie?
What?
What?
But as you'll also come to find out as a little bit later, I think there's a reason why I don't believe in the doves part. But
I think probably because of animal laws, they probably don't do the doves anymore.
Yeah.
They maybe did it one time.
But they do this relay with the torch. First off, they head to the International Olympic Academy, where each of these things sounds crazy and last to me. They will light a fire at the altar of a French dude named Pierre de Coubertin, where his heart is located. They have his heart
Why him?
and an altar.
That goes so hard.
It goes so hard. He's like one of the original Olympic people, and so they put
Like the modern creator of the Olympics?
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense they would just keep his heart.
It's so crazy, dude. But they light this one up, and then they take it from wherever, this one specific place of the International Olympic Committee. They then pass off the flame to the host country's Olympic Committee. And then they take that flame from this one building all the way to the Olympic cauldron at wherever it is in the world.
Yep, I had a feeling. Yep.
And they run with it from wherever they are all the way to wherever the hell it needs to go. After they did the flame with grease, they lit that on December 3rd, and they ran 12,000 kilometers through every single major Italian city, from Rome, Tuscany, Florence, all the way to Milan, where they then lit the cauldron. And then for your question about how do they get it across waters, I was actually going to ask Camp, without looking it up, how do you think they lit I believe it was in the 1980s, the Montreal Olympic blazer, or whatever it's called, cauldron? How did they get the flame from Athens to Montreal? Like, if you had to take a guess.
The most logical idea to me would be just do it by boat, since you'd be able to have the open space. Like, because if you tried to take the flame onto a plane, I don't think it would last the whole time. So boat would make the most logical sense. But now I feel like there's going to be a subversion.
So a lot of the time,
they swim with it?
I was going to. So it's funny you mentioned that. When they went to Australia, they lit a signal flare of like an underwater flare and traveled through the Great Barrier Reef to then pass along the
No way.
Whoa!
torch. It's so cool, dude. This is one of my favorite new things.
That's so wild.
They have taken the Olympic torch without the fire into space multiple times. For the Montreal Olympics, they actually transported the fire through radio. It was one of the only times that they did this, but they had a heat sensor in Athens that they held up the Olympic flame to. And eventually it finally picked up enough of a signal that it transmitted a signal to a satellite, which then shot a beam down to a laser beam in Ottawa that ignited the Olympic torch in Ottawa.
Did you just say a laser beam?
Yes.
Freaking lasers.
Yes.
Wait,
they used the laser beams for the
They used a laser beam to clone the flame.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh. It's
Oh
so
my
cool.
God.
It's so cool. I love it so much. The I didn't send this yet, but I took this image. The cauldrons, by the way, for the Olympic flame are gorgeous. Here is the
Ooh.
Milan's 2026 Olympic cauldron. It is genuinely a gorgeous piece of art.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, for those of you that are audio listeners, it is like a metal sculpture that looks kind of like a wreath, actually.
Yeah, it
and
looks
the
like
flame
some
is
kind
in
of
the
like
center of the wreath.
kaleidoscopic flower type thing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And you can look them up. Like every single country usually does a different spin on it. In the 80s and 90s, they would just have kind of a big spire that the cauldron would be on top of. But more
yeah,
recently,
that's the one I've seen before.
yeah, exactly. More recently, Tokyo's is gorgeous as well. Let me try to get a quick photo of
And they didn't even get their Olympics.
uh,
I'm still salty about that. I mean, I know it was because of COVID, so like understandable why that had to be canceled, but I think that's so shitty that they draw you for the Olympics, and then if you miss your Olympics, it's just like, sorry. Like,
Better luck next time.
Oh, made me so mad.
I just sent the Tokyo one, which is gorgeous.
Whoa, that one's
It
cool
looks
as
like
well.
an orb. Looks like
Yeah.
IKEA, the IKEA light fixture that you pull the string and it opens up.
Dang,
Yeah.
okay. I might have to cop that then. I never seen that in IKEA, but that does look badass.
Paris's looks like ass. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. This is Paris's.
It looks like a hot air balloon.
That just looks like a weather balloon.
Is
What
it
is
very
that like?
Jules
Is
Verne
that how
looking?
like? Is it in vault? Like, do they deliver it by balloon? Like, is that
No,
No, honestly, are you sure it's not something Jules Verne-esque?
I don't know who that is.
Because
So
it
you'd
looks
have
like
to know more about that.
the author of Around the World in 80 Days.
Oh,
he's
okay.
French.
Well, maybe.
So
That
it
might-
looks like a hot air balloon to me. So
That, I mean, that might generally be it. But yes, these Olympic cauldrons are gorgeous. I do have to say, this brought me back to earth really, really hard. Of the Olympic flame was not actually a thing in the old Greek Olympics. Like, this was not a ceremony, but it is a more modern idea that they were like, yo, what if we do this thing that literally from point A to point B, wherever in the world, we had to transport a flame, and using human ingenuity and like most of the time just running, like a person just running from point A to point B and then passing off the flame. But the very first Olympic flame relay was in 1936, which if either of you know anything about the 1936 Olympics,
yes.
I don't. This will be fun.
it was the Berlin Olympics, camp.
Yeah,
Which
this
the
is bad.
Nazis were in power during the 1936
Oh.
Olympics. And if you look at the torch ceremony, yeah, it's just a dude carrying
Oh,
a torch
boy.
in front of a bunch of swastikas.
Oh
So,
my god.
Was that the Olympics that Jesse Jackson competed in?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Which was very, very, very
All
big.
right, are you gonna send the image?
Oh,
I want to see it.
oh no. Okay, let me look at 1936.
I want to see it. I can censor the swastikas if need be, or we can just not put it in. But
Well,
I just
now
want
I
to
gotta
see the
show
I'll
image.
you.
just describe it. I'll just describe
Okay.
it for people.
It's a little bit of morbid curiosity.
Here's your morbid curiosity paid off.
Oh my
Oh wow.
god.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
no, we're not showing that. We can't show that.
So for everybody, since we can't really show this, it's basically exactly what you think. It is just the runner with the torch he's running up to. It looks just like a concrete box. I mean, it's not interesting at all. But he's running through a separated out crowd of people. And the back, there's some stands of people towards the back. And it is just giant, long flags with swastikas on them.
I thought
So-
the way
Very
see, I
large.
was imagining like it'd be a closer shot with like a couple people with like armbands in the background.
No.
This is just a full like,
No,
Yeah.
nah.
holy shit.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty bad.
So I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool! This is human. Like this is it still is cool. Like it's genuinely. It usually takes like 1,000 to 3,000 people each individually carrying the flame. Like that is so cool, at
Oh
least
my
to
gosh.
me. And like again,
You
this
mean like 1,000 to 3,000, not one person to 3,000 people.
yes, one guy is not running the
Okay.
full thing. That would be crazy.
That would be wild.
One man.
But and it takes usually again. This one started for Milan started on December 3rd, and I believe the Milan Olympics started February 2nd. I think so. Again, that's like 2-3 months of like just literally
Yeah.
carrying a flame around. So like
I wouldn't be surprised if the LA flame takes a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But and then Lexi, when you were asking about how do they get it over, they have done many, many different ways to get the flame across oceans.
I mean, obviously, a flare through the Great Barrier Reef, that's pretty crazy.
That's so cool. I
And
love
That goes hard.
freaking lasers for Montreal.
But again, for the United States or Canada or Brazil, they had crazy ways. They most of the time, for like whenever they had them in, I believe, a Norwegian country, they still had to take it across the ocean. And so they put it on an airplane, and they had the flame guarded by a flame marshal with a backup flame on board as well. And police were stationed to help guard the flame, as well as the flame was strapped into a chair. So,
Well, damn, I want the flame seat.
Let's go.
First class, more like flame class. Goodness.
yes, but they have taken the flame by boat. I believe in China or one of the Asian countries, I forget which one this was for, but they actually had a dragon boat that they used to transport the flame.
Whoa.
Again, they always use such cool things, and
That's cool.
This is such a small little blip on the radar, but it was just so cool to think of like everybody coming together of like, let's make this the coolest thing ever. And then I think it was the Beijing Olympics had the longest relay. I think
Distance.
well, not just total distance. They tried to make it like a world tour because nowadays it's actually banned from doing a world tour of the relay. They only want it to be in, of course, Athens and then what they need to get it to and then the home country.
Okay.
But for Beijing, they brought the flame to like France, and people in France like extinguished the flame and did so much crazy stuff, and it caused like
Oh my
lots
god.
of
What
stuff.
in the world?
People do not like Beijing, dog. They did not
Dang,
expect them during
okay.
that time. The Beijing 2008 Olympic torch relay covered a distance of 137,000 kilometers.
Ooh.
It traveled 21 countries before reaching Beijing, China on August 8th, 2008. Yeah. So
Wow.
they ran that so far.
Nothing but respect for Mario and Sonic at the Beijing Olympics 2008.
Oh, okay, Lexi.
So true. Were they actually there?
Yeah, they were there.
Oh, there was a game. There was a game.
About that, I mentioned the guy who lit the signal flare and then traveled it through the Great Barrier Reef. Some dude in Australia had a great time with the Olympic relay. Some dude lit pairs of underwear on fire, put them in a can that he attached to a leg of a chair, and snuck into the relay and passed off the fake fire. Without getting
Were they
caught.
worried? Were they worried he was gonna get like kidnapped or something?
No, this was just an asshole. Like, or not an. This was just like a
this was
troll.
just a-
This was just a dude who was like, "Oh, I want to see if I can technically trick the Olympic Committee," and he did. He passed off the flame that was not an Olympic flame to just like some mayor or some political person,
Oh my goodness.
and he was able to slip
Wait, so
away.
what do they have to go all over again? But like, what do you do with the flame after?
I don't know. There's so many rules with the flame of like if it's ever extinguished, they have a backup flame like within a certain distance of the original flame, and like even after the Olympic cauldrons are lit, they have a backup cauldron or a backup source of the flame nearby, so like
Oh my goodness.
so they can relight it. Like the cauldron has gone out multiple times, like from rain and wind and stuff like that. And people have just been like, oh, just relight it. And so like a dude walked up with a cigarette lighter and relit it one time, and they had to re-extinguish the flame.
Oh my goodness.
Go get the backup flame and relight the cauldron.
They're
But
so extra.
it's the most extra thing ever. But yes, I had to mention the Olympic flame because it's just so crazy. And a couple more small tidbits about the Olympics. Some removed events in the past included, like I mentioned earlier, pistol dueling,
Aw.
hot air ballooning,
Huh?
rope climbing, and tug
Wait,
of war.
sorry. Go back.
I'm going.
How is hot air ballooning a sport?
Whoever probably can get the first,
Probably like a balloon
fastest.
race.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Which is very dangerous.
Yes, it is. Also, there's not many hot air balloons these days. But tug of war is one of the ones that I really think would be a great Olympic sport, if you ask me.
Yeah, they should bring that back.
They should.
That'd be funny.
I think the idea of having like 5 to 10 just big dudes pulling on a rope for an Olympic sport would be so good.
I would tune in.
Yeah. But between the years of 1921 and 1948, by the way, the Olympics wasn't only athletic ability, which I didn't know. There were actually categories for architects, artists, musicians, and more.
Interesting.
The Olympics had an entire art portion where members would create art about the Olympics themselves and then be judged and graded and would get medals for it. But then again, because art is the most subjective thing you could basically have, they were like, maybe we shouldn't have a very subjective category. Like, hey, if a guy runs faster than another guy, he usually wins. But if a guy uses...
Yeah, because that's a very set standard of, if you run faster than this guy, then you're the fastest. But if you make a beautiful painting and then somebody makes a beautiful sculpture, who's to say which one's better,
Exactly.
Yeah, like how would, there's no real ranking process other than vibes for that.
Yep. Originally, as I mentioned also, there wasn't a form of the Winter Olympics until 1924. And so for the first 20, almost 30 years, they would just occasionally have some winter sports like figure skating as part of the Summer Olympics. And I don't know how you would do figure skating in summer 1920, if I had to guess, without much refrigeration and stuff like that. But maybe they just chose a spot that had extra ice. I don't know.
A location that's chill. I don't know.
And Camp, I'm going to ask you a question because I love putting you on the ball. I can't wait to hear the click-clack of your keyboard.
On the spot, not on the ball.
He's got to be on the ball because I'm going to put him on the spot.
Okay.
What do the 5 rings of the Olympic flag represent?
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what this is. What 5 rings of Olympics represents?
Respect.
No, shut up. I got this.
I trust
Okay,
it.
the colors were chosen. I know that I had to go in my mind palace a little bit to work it out, but I got it. It's essentially because every single one of the colors appears in every single national flag of every country that exists. And that's the symbolism of the color. And the reason that they're all the same size is that they are we're all equals and shit, dude. Isn't that crazy?
You gotta follow me, bitch.
You gotta follow me, bitch.
But yes, basically, the rings represent the 5 continents that people live on. And no, there are not 7 continents like you've been taught. Antarctica doesn't count because there's no people that live in Antarctica, and they just combined the Americas apparently. So that's from one source that I found.
That's a lot of landmass, but I could understand that.
True. And finally, I mentioned doves earlier. Do either of you know why usually they don't? Do either of you know why doves are not usually at any Olympic events anymore?
I don't, but I'm assuming there were some casualties that caused that.
Lexi?
I feel like it's probably because they lost them or they released them in areas where they wouldn't survive and they died. I don't know.
In 1988, during the Seoul Summer Olympics, the organizers spent about a year training doves to be released and fly away at the opening ceremonies. And they were trying to train them to fly away from the arena and scatter in all directions and go be free, birds. And they had been successful up to a few different tests runs before this. But the day of the opening ceremonies came, and when they released this flock of live doves to symbolize peace and a successful start to the games, it was extremely windy. And so the birds flew up to the edge of the stadium and went, "This is windy. I don't want to get out of the stadium." And so they instead flew over to, this is awful, they flew over to the top of the Olympic cauldron. And minutes later, they got roasted when the Olympic cauldron was lit. And,
oh my God.
And the event coordinators couldn't get the doves to leave, and so a bunch of doves just ended up getting burned in the cauldron in front of the world to see. And so
they're like, yeah.
That's why I have a kind of a doubt that an event involving fire, even a small torch, might not involve the release of doves. You
shouldn't have live animals. Yeah.
Yes. But
that's
why I remember that specifically. I was like, didn't they roast a bunch of doves at the Olympics one time?
That's a true case of FAFO,
Yeah.
They didn't know until it happened.
Absolutely. And finally, it's time for everybody's favorite podcast within a podcast. You don't know Glup Shitto. We're still doing it. It's back, baby. It's back.
Olympic edition.
The Olympic edition.
Pod racing.
Yeah.
One of you gets the Gold Shitto award. The other one does not.
The other one gets Shitto.
Gets
there
Shitto.
You go.
Oh, no.
camp. Whoever wins this, they get a small little gold picture on their thing for like a couple seconds, and that's it.
Right now, perfect.
Right now, whoever wins. Two characters.
After we find out the winner, because we don't want spoilers.
So I'm going to give you two characters from one is from Star Wars. One of them is fake. The two names are Tebow and Plivik. Those names again are Tebow and Plivik.
I'm going to say Tebow is real because he sounds like Max Rebo, my beloved.
I'm going to say Plivik because Lexi chose Tebow, and it would be not super exciting if we both picked the same one.
I'm going to lose anyway, so.
Are you sure? I feel like Tebow's got to be real.
Lexi is the winner of the You Don't Know Glup Shitto Winter Olympics version.
Goodness.
That is Tebow.
Let's go. Enjoy your gold color profile photo.
Woo.
He looks nothing like Max Rebo.
Like Glup Shitto. I knew you were going to say.
It. Yeah, he looks nothing like Glup Shitto either. But.
That is Tebow. Be sure to vote along. If you are watching the YouTube version of the upload, I found out there's a quiz section. So now you can vote as well if you have an idea of which one is a fake or real Star Wars
It is not
character.
AI generated. I thought the quizzes were AI generated at first, and I sent a message to Gurdon being like, what the hell is this? But it turns out he did it himself.
I had to do it by hand, and it was very annoying, but still.
He put the work into it, so it's fine.
I think this is the first one I've won also. I'm very bad at the Glup Shitto game.
But thank you, Lexi. You are the winner of the Glup Shitto Olympic Award. Here's your award for exactly 5 seconds, and then we'll never talk about it again.
Yeah, look at how good that looks, girl.
Woo!
And because I won the Olympic gold medal, I can also give away an Olympic gold medal. And today's Olympic gold medal goes to all of our patrons over on patreon.com. Cam's Patreon, Gerd's Pantheon. Yeah, Pantheon, sure. Patreon. Yeah, whatever it is. Thank you so much for supporting us. You allow us to do this. And like I said in every episode, thank you for your suggestions. Thank you for your listenings. Thank you for your quiz involvement. Do you know Glup Shitto? You'll find out now. And we just appreciate you guys for supporting us, being able to ramble on and go forth and light that torch. I don't know.
Burn them birds.
Woo! Burn the... Oh my God.
Who was it? Come on.
It wasn't them, you guys.
Oh.
Was it about your car's extended warranty?
It was. How did you know that, Lexi?
Because
are you gonna win the secret podcast Olympics award without? Like, did you sell us out, Lexi?
No.
I totally believe that one.